years that we've been supporting carers. I think that's an absolute sort of milestone. So we celebrated by having a carers crystal celebration, and we had an amazing night. That's raised some additional funding for the service, which has, you know, really helped. Sarah did a skydive for us. Sarah was one of our social work students doing her masters, and in her spare time decided to do some fundraising for us as well. So a massive thank you to Sarah. Richard, I'll not go into detail because you're going to meet Richard shortly, but another huge fundraising event in this year. So a little bit further down, it just talks a little bit about our lasting power of attorney and Carers Dream Draw. These are really big, so I'm just going to plug these, because if you don't already know, we have a Carers Dream Draw, which is like a mini lottery. And this year we are aiming for this 1 in 1,000. We're aiming for 1,000 people to be signed up to the Carers Dream Draw. It's a lottery, so you buy a ticket, it's £1. You can have more than one ticket. And each month we do a draw, and there's a winner of the first prize, and then there's 4 runner-up prizes. Dead easy to do. You just sign up with us. It's taken from your bank each month, or you can just, you know, pay us up front for the year, whatever's easier for you. It's a little bit of fun, but it just helps generate income for the service. And the easier, the better, I always think. The lasting power of attorney, this is something that we have a team of volunteers who are experienced and trained. They're led by Janet, and they will help you with your form filling. We don't give advice. We're not, we don't have the legal sort of experience to suggest or make offer any advice on what you should and shouldn't do. What we do is, once you've decided to go ahead with a lasting power of attorneys, we help you fill those forms in, and it's a very straightforward service. Okay. Volunteering. If you didn't know, it was the Volunteers Week last week. We would normally have been celebrating at King George's Hall with CVS. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that. So Curran has been busy in the background, our volunteer coordinator, holding our own event on Zoom last Wednesday night. So this just gives you an idea of how many volunteers. We really rely on volunteers, as any charity does. The pictures that you can see were from last year's awards ceremony at CVS, and we had a hat trick. Our LPA volunteers won. We had Kyle that won, and we also had Pat that won. So we just brought home the awards last year. It was amazing. So again, if you're interested in volunteering, we have loads of different roles. So we will have something that will suit everybody. So please get in touch if you are interested in volunteering. Just at the moment, we have a team of volunteers that are delivering meals to carers every day. I've had a couple of apologies from our volunteers saying it overruns for lunch, we won't be able to do it. So they're actually delivering meals as we speak to our carers. And we also delivered pamper packs this week to 200, and I think it was a little bit more than 215. We had funding for 215, and we managed to just hit a little bit higher than that. So we've been giving out pamper packs to carers as well. Without volunteers, we really couldn't do all of that. Okay, that's our volunteers. There's a case study for you to read in there as well, and also our badge of volunteer academy. So when our volunteers do come through the service, they are put through an accredited course looking at all the areas such as safeguarding, health and safety, confidentiality. James has just said, I agree. He's agreeing to the volunteers, just how important they are. So that's our volunteering section. Okay, Ellen. Activities and events, you will have seen the photos at the beginning. So you will have seen everything that we do. We have such a creative team and a specific post for running activities. So Kulsum is our activities worker, and she does the consultations with our carers as well. So she asks, what do you want? What will help? What is going to be helpful at this time? And we put those activities on. We're never short of activities. As you can see, there's so much feedback. We're just in the process of capturing the feedback from the pamper packs. They're coming in fast and furious at the moment. So there's just tons of activities going on there. Events, training, groups, just lots and lots. Alan has been doing some publicity for us. So these are just examples of some of the things that we've been doing over the year. It is really hard, the team will agree, it's really hard to keep on top of everything because it just happens so fast, and getting people booked on. So funding opportunities, we've talked a little bit about the Carers Dream Draw and the LPA. We were lucky with Tesco Bags for Help this year, and we were able to put on an activity every day, every week during the 6 weeks holiday for children with disabilities. So that was just an amazing opportunity that we could, encourage lots of children to have some fun and their parents to have a break. Eric Wright funds our YAC worker, our young adult carers worker. We are looking for funding going forward for this role, as this is going to be coming to an end quite soon. So we're always looking for funding, always. Okay, Alan. So I mentioned Claire a little bit earlier, Claire TJ, our benefits worker, and also Jim, who left in this year. We do have a good offer for benefits. Our advisor Vicky has taken over this role, and Yasmin is also covering benefits. So we've almost got an extended team now of staff that are experienced in offering benefits and employment support. So we just had one in the beginning, and then we've sort of expanded our reach. So that's working very well. Outcomes and statistics, again, you can have a look at this when you see the annual report. Our total referrals over the last 12 months was 1,244. To put that in a little bit of context, there are recorded on the past census, and I know this is out of date now, but recorded as having sort of 16,000 carers in Blackburn with Darwen. So on our database, we've got just under 7,000 registered. So we've got a long way to go. But given the tiny team that we have at the moment, we're working hard to reach out to those hard to reach carers. Okay. Achievements, the biggest one that I just want to focus on is what Graham spoke about earlier, and that's regarding the sort of the new contract with adult social care. We were very fortunate to successfully get our contract again. We've had the carer service for the last 15 years, so we were quite worried that what if we just weren't successful this time? What if another organisation could offer something different? But we secured it, which is fantastic. So we have the Helping People to Stay Happy, Healthy and Well contract. And like Graham said, we had a massive hit in funding. So we've had to be creative in how we deliver our services. But I'm so proud of our team, our carers, our volunteers and our trustees, because without everybody sort of pulling out all the stops, the service would have struggled, therefore the carers would have had an impact. But hopefully the carers have known no different, that the services are still there supporting them. So that was our biggest achievement. And then there's other bits and pieces in there. Again, the COVID stuff, I am so proud that we have managed to work remotely. The team will be sat there now going, oh my goodness, logging onto their laptops for the first time, trying to Zoom each other, using Microsoft Teams, trying to work out what worked best for the team, it's been almost, we've just had to laugh. We're all in our own individual houses trying our absolute best to keep our service going. So what an achievement, because people have commented that we were quick off the mark, that the team were working straight away, and the carers the only difference is that face to face. That's the only difference that we're with our service. So yeah, dead proud of everybody. So there's a couple of case studies for you to read. Our commissioner, Tim's here today. Tim will say this is the most important bit. We want to know what people are saying. We want to know what difference support has made. Not necessarily the figures, not necessarily the things that we're putting on, but tell us how that has made a difference to case study 1 to case study 2. Okay. So we talked a little bit about fundraising. We are really interested in people leaving us a legacy or donating to the service. Please do this wherever you can, because every little bit helps the service continue. We are up against the bigger charities, and the bigger charities have a little bit more pull on heartstrings, whereas carers aren't always at the forefront of everybody's mind. So it's our job to really push that. And then just on the final page, at the bottom it should say, does it say on the bottom, Alan? Just move that page up a little bit more. No. It just says that all this artwork and annual report and posters and flyers, we don't have a marketing team. We don't have a particular post that does all our work online. So Alan, I just want to say a really big thank you to Alan, and especially for pulling all this together as well, because I was having a heart attack at the beginning of this week. Just amazing, Alan. Thank you so much for everything you do on our digital and marketing side of things. Does anybody have, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the report? Do they have any questions around what our service is currently delivering? Just have a think and start typing that in if there is, and then Isma will give me a shout. In the meantime, Colson, can you just let everybody know what's happening for the rest of this week, because it's Carers Week this week?
At Carers Week so far, we've got loads left. This afternoon we've got therapy for tired carers, and that's in association with Lancashire Health and Wellbeing Centre. So please tune into our Facebook page to enjoy some therapy and how to do. Tomorrow we have got Walk a Mile in a Carer's Shoes. This is an annual campaign that we all get together usually, but what we're asking carers to do is to go for a walk a mile in a carer's shoes, and whilst you're walking, think about who you're walking for, and if you can, put it down on paper or in a poem or kind of illustrate it in some way. We'd love to hear that back at the carer service. And then at 10:30 we've got Parent Carers Coffee Morning, and they're having an online duck race for carers. Now, to find out how that works, you will have to actually Zoom in. So if you can ask us for the Zoom link, and it'd be interesting to find out how that works. So please do that. And then tomorrow, on Friday, we finish the week with a virtual teddy bears picnic. And this is going to be absolutely amazing. So again, if you can zoom into that as well, that's going to be held at 1 o'clock on Friday. Sam, an absolutely busy week. We've done everything possible to make carers visible, and that is the theme of the week. And thank you to all the carers who've sent in videos and poems and photographs, and everybody's got involved. So that's that.
Lovely. Thank you. I think we've got a question. Isma, can you see the questions?
Yeah, so it's from Zoe. I think I've got the name right. Would it be possible for you to provide an update around the services? for veterans and carers of people living dementia?
Yeah, so those two things, so veterans and dementia. So the veterans, we had a really difficult time during this year to engage with carers looking after veterans. We received some funding through Carers Trust to set up a new support group for carers that are looking after someone who served, a veteran. And by doing that, we were going to support both the carer and the cared for, and link in with the different services, the British Legion and Veterans in Community, and to do work sort of as a whole family. And yet we advertised the group, it went far and wide. We got lots of different veteran organisations and groups to share the information, and we didn't get anybody attending. We really, really struggled, and we had to keep going back to the funder saying, we're doing something different, we're trying something else. And in the end, we sort of had to just bring that to an end and say, when the team are out identifying carers, or when we get new referrals, it is a question now that we ask: have you served? You know, are you a veteran? Is your family member a veteran? And we're capturing the information that way. So we currently don't have a separate support group, but we're starting to pick up how many referrals where there's a veteran in the family. So it's a slow process, Zoe. So we are sort of slowly trying to raise awareness around veterans and their families. On the dementia side is growing well. So we have a dementia peer group and a dementia cafe. One's the first Tuesday of the month and the second one's the third Tuesday of the month. At the moment, they're our most at risk group because they tend to be the older population. So they're not accessing Zoom. They're not accessing the WhatsApp groups. So the Pamper Packs was one way of getting some support out to them. So we targeted a lot of our carers looking after somebody with dementia. And we have an advisor within the team, Sonia, who is constantly talking, ringing, checking in with our carers, with somebody with dementia at home. So we are trying to be creative on how we get that support out to them, because we know they're not tapping into Zoom and the online activities. We've got activity packs going out in the next couple of weeks, and again the focus around that, I think Coulson sent something out to the team today around the two different groups, a generic group but also the older carers looking after dementia. We'll have a specific activity pack to sort of keep them busy while we're all on lockdown. Hope that answers your questions, Zoe. Great, thanks. Okay, so thanks very much, Coulson. That was a really good insight into what we've got for the rest of the week. And that's only this week. If you can imagine next week and the week after and the week after, there's still tons going on. Can I introduce you to Richard now? And Alan, could you put Richard's photographs up? Richard, are you unmuted?
Yep.
I think so.
Oh, lovely. Introduce yourself and tell us about your photographs that will come on the screen very soon.
Yeah, that's fine. So my name's Richard, and last year, almost a year ago this week, I did a sponsored walk for Blackburn with Dying Carers on the Offarsdyke footpath. This footpath runs for around 178 miles from Chepstow in the south to Prestatyn in the north of Wales, and it follows the English-Welsh border, and it crosses quite a variety of landscapes from mountain to canal to river, and is very challenging. I decided to do this really because of my own mental health experience. and the fantastic job that I had from various carers, and obviously the support they got from different caring services. And I just felt that I had to give something back, really, and I'd reached a stage when I could come to terms with what I'd been through. So it was quite a big challenge, as I said before, quite a lot of nerves and anxiety leading up to it. Did some fundraising before the walk. So I set up a Facebook page, which is still running now, and it's been renamed Rambling On. And I keep putting pictures of the walks that I do. Managed to get onto the radio and get a flyer and an article in the newspaper as well. So the walk started on the 1st of June, and I finished it on the 13th of June last year, camping most of the way, where I could, by myself, carrying all the stuff on my back. First day was absolutely fantastic, walking, beautiful sunny day. I think that was the only sunny day I had. After that, as you can probably see from the photos, the mist came down and it rained consistently for at least 10 days. I don't think I've ever been so wet, and I must have shrunk about a foot in the rain. And towards the end of the walk, it was torrential rain. And I don't know if you remember last year, they had floods in Wales. That was me walking through that, sometimes knee deep, sometimes ankle deep in water. As you can see from this photograph in the top left-hand corner, well, it's just gone now, that was a river that was just described as a gentle stream that I had to cross. So you can imagine that's the sort of state of flooding that we had, and there's a lovely photograph of me there. That's probably what I wore most of the walk, was a waterproof jacket, and it was that wet that even my rucksack started to flood. So wet. And I think on the walk, really, one of the biggest challenges was the loneliness and the isolation that sort of reflects what a lot of carers can feel. But saying that, I met some lovely people on the way, one of which was 69. He was 69 years old, and he'd been walking all his life, and I'm still in contact with him at the moment. I think some of the fondest memories of the walk was one of the afternoons became sunny. I ended up walking through the cider fields, the cider orchards, and sitting in my tent at the end of the day with a bottle of cider. I think that was quite a good day. And also along the walk as well, there was lots of help from people who volunteered. So there was some churches on the way, and what they actually did is they provided tea and coffee free of charge for a donation. So you could just let yourself into the church, and you could sit in a pew and make yourself a tea or coffee, and then just put a donation in the box, which was quite nice. I think reaching the halfway point, as you can see there, was a massive achievement, and it really made me feel that I could do this walk, and that, you know, I think once you reach halfway, you know, you've got more faith in yourself, and it was a great way. This photograph here of the fire in the stove there, that was on a day when I was particularly wet, and I reached a campsite, and the owner was a lovely lady. And it really touched me on an emotional level, because by that time I was soaking wet, I was tired, I was feeling alone, and I really couldn't complete the challenge. And when I reached a campsite, the campsite was flooded. And I thought, oh great, here we go, I'm going to be sleeping in water here. However, on the other side of the campsite, she had some yurts with stoves in, and she said, look, you're wet, you look miserable, you look tired, I will let you use one of the yurts and I won't charge you anymore, which was fantastic, because these yurts go for like £100 a night. I only paid a £5. So, and then she sort of came a bit later with some wood and said, look, make yourself a fire and just make yourself comfortable. So that sort of generosity really touched me, I think, you know, because it enabled me to get warm. In this photograph, you can see some wild horses. I actually ended up playing a game with myself, because it was so so misty on the hills, I played a game of, is it a sheep, a horse, or a bush? Because that's how much mist there was. You couldn't see in front of your face. So, and then there's just some other photographs here. Like I said, it's quite a historic trail. So on the way, I followed the Offa's Dyke, which was made by King Offa, who was trying to provide a defence from the Welsh, really, by the English. And there was lots of information signs on the way about battlefields that happened along the way, which was quite serene, really, because obviously it was a very quiet walk and you couldn't imagine all these battles and industry happening, really. And again, there's just some sheep there. So all in all, it was a really, really good walk. Oh yeah, this tree down here, this tree apparently is one of the oldest trees in the UK. Apparently it's over 300 years old, and it's got a horrible name. It's called the Gate to Hell. So I don't know why it's called the Gate to Hell, but it's one of the oldest trees in the UK. At the end of the walk, reaching the beach again, so I started off on a beach and I could see the Severn Crossing Bridge, and reaching the beach at Prestatyn really was an achievement, and I didn't know how to react, really. It was a bit strange being at the end, having done it, and managing the 13 days really through all the rain and the other adversities, including falling over on the first day and really hurting my leg and bruising my leg. That was a lesson for me not to be so confident, I suppose. And then getting home to be with my partner, and just really having to sit down thinking, did I really achieve that? Did I really manage to do such a long walk? And in a way, I'd like to do it again, perhaps in better weather, so I can enjoy the scenery a bit more rather than just seeing the sides of my hood and the peak of my cap. And it's quite a strange experience, because a year on, it's a bit like, I don't know who drives, but sometimes when you drive from one place to another, you only remember certain aspects of it. You don't remember every single detail. And I think it was the same for this walk. So I'd like to go back and do it again to perhaps try and remember some of the things I've forgotten. But it's definitely given me the bug to walk. I was a keen walker to start with. I'd never achieved or tried to achieve anything like this before. So I've decided, if old Bojo, Boris Johnson, lifts the COVID restrictions on camping and staying out overnight, I'd like to try and do another sponsored walk for Blackburn with Darwin Carers again this year. I've already planned the walk. It's just whether Boris Johnson will lift the conditions so I can complete it. So it's a Dales Highway, which is half the distance of this one. It's 90 miles, starting in Saltaire, ending in Penrith. But there's a few more hills in the way because it's a Dales Highway. So I am going to put more details of that on my Facebook page when I know what's happening with these campsites. Because obviously, like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty about what's happening with the tourism industry at the moment. I think in total for this walk, I think the total raised about 900, was it, Sam? Something like that, which was a fantastic amount of money. And I only set out to raise 200, 300 quid. So to raise that much money was absolutely fantastic. So I don't know how much I get this year if it goes ahead, but we'll see. And I'll push for more donations. So I'll be badgering everybody. But like I said, I do have a Facebook page called Rambling On, and I do put down thoughts about how I'm feeling. I'm quite open and honest, and I'm happy to talk about my anxiety and my depression, and how it affects me, because I do feel it's really important to talk about these things, and to be open and honest, and to share our experiences for carers and for those suffering with mental health issues. That's the only way we're going to overcome this and the stigmatism that's attached to mental health, and raise awareness both for those who suffer from mental health and for the fantastic job and sometimes isolating job that carers do to help their loved ones through the dark days, really. So do check that out. There are some photos on there of my daily walks or the walks I go on weekends, and hopefully it'll inspire some people to get out there, even if it's just for 10 minutes for a walk, to clear your head and enjoy the countryside that surrounds us in Blackburn, which I think we're very lucky to have.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, Richard.
Right.
If anybody's got any questions for Richard, just start typing them in now. I just wanted to say we followed you, Richard, from the day you set off to the day you finished. You know, we were watching you on Facebook, we were following you. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, we even had a bit of a conversation of maybe meeting you over there, because I was trying to work out, is there a carer centre at the end? Could we do balloons? In fact, I think it was one of our team, Carol, that said, can we do something at the other end for Richard? And I remember having the conversation and you were like, do you know what, Sam, I just want to finish. I just want to get on the train home. And I think that then told us just what a massive achievement this would have been for you. And that, you know, at the end of it, it was like, I've done it. I just want to go home to my partner now. You know, she's been waiting for you. And I want to get these boots off, because I remember you telling me your feet were so wet.
Yeah, I think the last 4 days were the wettest days. And like I said, some of the villages were cut off by floods. That's how bad it was. And I was literally, you know, sort of shin deep. And I always remember thinking, because it was like a 14-day challenge, I kept thinking that, look, there's only 4 days to go, only 4 days to go. I think if it'd been not towards the beginning, I would have given up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have one memory of being in the field with this cattle, and I waded across this bridge, and in the space of 10 minutes, all these cattle suddenly surrounding me, and I thought, what is going on? Why are these cows surrounding me? And it turned out that me and the cows were on an island in the middle of this field. But the floodwater just surrounded us completely, and I thought, oh my word, this is ridiculous.
Wow.
So, I mean, my feet were a bit rotten at the end, and I remember getting home, my partner going, you're putting those boots in the bin, they stink.
Absolutely. And I think, Richard, as well, just to let everybody know that the money that you raise, what we're using that for is we've started, even in lockdown, we've started it. Coulsom's leading a wellbeing group that's looking at carers' mental health and wellbeing. So she's already started sort of the online Zoom meetings that once we're back in the office, we'll be able to, you know, open that out to face-to-face. But yeah, it's just so that we can let you know that we have used that money to start sort of benefiting carers and they're cared for who are suffering with mental health. So thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Okay, so next we have one of our carers, Emma, that's agreed to come on and just tell you a little bit about her caring role and how she's involved with the carer service. Is Emma around?
Sam, can we just go back a bit?
Yep.
For Richard, we've got someone who's asking,
Yep.
Can you give your Facebook address, please, Richard?
Yeah, I'll put it in the messaging now for you.
Brilliant, thank you.
And I shall share it on social media.
Okay,
Lovely.
thank you.
Was there any questions for Richard, Isma?
No, just that, just his Facebook page.
Lovely. Okay, so I can see Emma there in the yellow t-shirt. Hi, Emma.
Hi, it's my happy shirt.
Ah, perfect. The floor is yours, Emma.
Thank you, darling, and thank you, Richard, for that really inspiring talk. I think I possibly know the chap you met on the walk. He wasn't called Neil by any chance, was he? No, he wasn't. Oh, I've got a friend who walks Office Dyke nearly every year. Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me on. Firstly, can I say thank you to Coulsom and Blackburn with Darwin Carers for my pamper pack. It was absolutely awesome. A lot of carers will know, as a carer, you never feel cherished. And yesterday I could have cried. I felt so cherished. In fact, I've got my tissues here. Last night I sat wrapped up in my throw, which my husband is now calling my blankie. And yeah, I'm going to have a do in the shower with a ginger shampoo when we finish. So Guys, it was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. So Sam's asked me to talk a bit about being a carer, how I got involved with the service and some of the challenges and the good bits about being a carer. So I'll focus on that. So yeah, as Sam said, I'm Emma. I live in Darwin. I've lived in Darwin 27 years. Apparently I'm still an outsider. You're not a Darriner till you've been here 50 years, they tell me. So, but I've actually lived in North Wales as well, so I know a lot of the places Richard was talking about. I've been a carer since I was 6. Well, that's when I was told I was a carer, and that's when my father explained that the behaviours of my mother, who frequently tried to kill herself, used to run around with knives, was admitted several times to psychiatric organisations, who was one of the very unfortunate people to have electric shock therapy, was schizophrenic. And they're not entirely sure that it is schizophrenia. She had a complete breakdown when my brother was born, and it was determined that he was Down syndrome. And she never really recovered. And she was diagnosed schizophrenia, which a lot of us in the game will know is a label. By the way, if you can hear hammering, I'm really sorry. My neighbours have chosen today to do their damp course. So I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes.
So my mum was schizophrenic, my brother was had learning difficulties, and my dad was a very, very strict man who I think probably wasn't coping very well. So he used to do a lot of bizarre things as well. But I was carer for mum, and that carried on until they passed away. They both died agonisingly slow deaths of cancer. So I cared during that period as well. But more immediately, I'm carer for my husband, who last week, it was our 23rd wedding anniversary, but we've been together 26 years. And about 20 years ago, he had, for massive personal circumstances that aren't really, they're too long to go into today, he had a massive mental breakdown. And for 8 years before the breakdown, it manifested in, shall we just say, some very extreme behaviours, some of which were very damaging to me. Once he'd had the breakdown, he was medicated, and even today he's on around 38 tablets a day. And he was diagnosed with treatment-resistant depression, aggravated anxiety, compulsive obsessive disorder, and paranoid rumination. So a whole suite. And as Richard said a moment ago, it's really important I tell you that in a very blasé way, because I am a one-woman army against the stigma of mental health. You know, we all have mental health, just varying degrees of it from one end of the extreme to the other. And it really annoys me there's so much fear and stigma associated with it. So I do talk very openly about it. After that, he developed chronic osteoarthritis, type 2 diabetes. He had a fall and smashed his pelvis to smithereens, and because of his medication regime, they couldn't treat it. So they had to put him on water traction, so now he's very disabled. He has chronic falls. Most notably, I came down one night and he'd fallen over and landed on the glass television stand and impaled himself on it. And he had a 38-inch wound across his abdomen where he basically, I could put both hands in it. So he's also recently had an elbow replacement, which has gone hideously, tragically wrong, and left him completely paralysed in his left arm and his left hand. So he can't dress himself, he can't wash, he can't cook food up, he can't really eat with anything other than a nork, which is adapted cutlery. He has urinary incontinence. He basically needs me for absolutely everything all day, from when I get up to when I go to bed. And because of his mental health and because of his physical disabilities, he can't do anything. So that kind of means I have to do everything, which, as any carer will tell you, is in the same cart. And I know I'm a lot luckier than some. It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And I work part-time as well. I did work full-time, but after his elbow incident, I went part-time. So that's kind of my carer role, and what I'm doing at the moment. And I got involved with Blackburn with Darwin Carers. Funnily enough, I got involved with them a long time ago and gave them all sorts of grief because I kept saying, where are the sessions for working carers? Everything you do is during the day. I'm a working carer. What about me? And very on my high horse about it. And now, of course, they do stuff for working carers, which is absolutely fantastic. But I got more involved with them when I started my job at the library, where I'm an access and equality officer, trying to give a range of activities from the library to the community, every aspect of the community. And I started working with Isma, who is an angel, and Coulson, who is a darling, working with them really closely in supporting events and collaborating at Kingsway, which was fabulous. And that's how Coulson, I think, picked up with her inspiring intuition that for all my bluff and bluster, I was a carer who was struggling and I might need help too. And she got me involved in that WhatsApp mental health group that I think you were alluding to, that's been supported by Richard's funding, which is absolutely fabulous. And I've realised that carers aren't islands. We do need each other. And as isolated as we may feel, it's really important that we reach out and contact other carers and support one another. And it's Blackburn with Darwin Carers Network at Kingsway that have done that for me, as well as hundreds of other people. Sam asked me about the challenges and the good bits. It won't be a surprise to anyone to know that the challenges were much easier to list. But I think for me, apart from the exhaustion of having to do everything and being on my own doing it, because I have no family around me. I have one friend who lives in Canada. I think it's the isolation and it's the impact on your confidence. I did a video for Coulson recently and I talked about being a social butterfly 30 years ago. And I was the life and soul of the party, because anyone who lacks confidence will probably fake it, and I faked it so well everybody thought I was a party animal. And so I had a really active social life. But after meeting my husband and getting involved in his mental health, sadly people fade away. When your husband falls asleep because of his medication, with his head in his plate of food, or he's slurring his words, or he's drooling, it's amazing how quickly people stop ringing and stop coming around. So being a carer can be very isolating. I think the other challenge there is for me is maintaining a relationship with the person you care for. Because obviously husband and wife, but you're cleaning your husband when he's soiled himself, you're putting on elastic padded knickers, you're cleaning wet bedding, you're cleaning up accidents from the floor, you're basically, like I say, cutting food up for them, feeding them, and trying to maintain a sort of normal marital relationship when you've got those challenges is really, really hard. So I think that's probably one of the hardest things. You can hear my voice is wobbling a bit because that's quite emotional. The good bits, it's improving the quality of life for the person that you care for. It's immensely rewarding being there for that person and knowing that you're helping them to do things that if they were on their own, they just wouldn't be able to access or do. So that's really rewarding. But also meeting people like your network, Sam, which has been one of the more joyous experiences of my life. And also meeting people through you, like Karen Howarth from Brain Health Breakthrough. She's given me some wonderful news today. I did a bit of a poem on being a carer and a bit of a video for her. And the Telegraph are interested and they're going to ring this afternoon and interview me. So I'll be able to profile the service, yours and Karen's, through that with any luck, if I'm compass mentis enough to do a good interview. And what would I say to your commissioners? Oh, this service is life-saving. It is, I just wish I worked for it. Quick in there. I've been told since my husband was diagnosed, and in fact, I'll tell you a little story. When I was about 10, my mother's social worker came around to the house. Now, bear in mind, I'm 54, So this is 44 years ago. And it was after she'd had one of her electric shock treatments, and she was pretty out of it. And my father was desperate. And he said to the social worker, God, Charles, is there anything we can do? You know, what more can we do? And the social worker said, it's true as I'm sat here talking to you, if you leave her alone for a weekend, Tony, she'll probably hang herself and that'll solve the problem. Yeah, that was the kind of mental health support you got then. And even in more modern day, looking for it for my husband, there's a lot of literature out there about how much support there is, but accessing it is so hard. And the turnover of staff, because of the challenges to mental health services, means it's really hard to build lasting relationships with those people. But this service, you know, you say you're small, I would say small and beautifully packaged. There is never any problem accessing. The range of activities that are put on is just awe-inspiring. And it is, you know, if I was having a real meltdown now, I would know I had somewhere to go and someone to call. So to your commissioners, I would say, oh, for God's sake, you know, give them more money, give them everything, because it's just an absolutely amazing service. And lastly, to other carers, I would say, how are you? Because the one thing I find I'm never asked is, how are you? A lot of people ask me how my partner is, how's he doing, how's the court case? We're going through medical negligence because of the extent to which they've butchered him. And everyone sympathises, but nobody ever asks me how I am. And that's why I think I got so emotional when I got the pamper pack, because it was like, oh, I exist. Somebody sees me. They know what I'm doing. And it was just like, wow, just wow. I tell you, I'll live off it for weeks. But it really is important to reach out to the carers and say, how are you? You matter. Take time for you, you know, even if it's just going for a walk. If you don't want to go for a walk, if you can't be asked, or if you're unfit like I am, go in the garden, go outside, listen to the birds, just breathe. Just take some time for yourself. But more than anything, get involved with Blackburn with Darwin Carers, because if they can help me, someone who rejects help because she just doesn't think she's worthy of it, then they can help anybody. So do get involved, because they are amazeballs. And I think that's probably me. If I've covered everything you wanted, Sam.
Oh wow, yes. Honestly, I need a minute. I think this is what it's all about, Emma. That you know, the AGM, you know, I can tell everybody about what service we do and how good we are, but it's listening to you. It's listening to you and having a real experience that makes all the difference. And yeah, thank you for sharing that, because just it is emotional. It's personal stuff, and I really appreciate you sharing. Thank you so much. I've seen all the messages coming through, and I'm just like, everybody is so on my side saying, well done, you're amazing.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share, and bye everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Emma. Okay, now we have Heather. Is Heather in the background somewhere?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Heather. Great. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I'm Heather Burns, and I live in Samlesbury on what was my parents' farm, and I live with my 17-year-old son and my mum, who's in her 80s, but a very fit 8-year-old. And I've actually only been recently involved with Blackburn with Darwin Carers through Coulson kindly ringing me when I volunteered at the start of lockdown. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience in these last few months in liaising with Sam and Coulson. So, and I just really wish, when I hear the amazing inspirational stories from Emma and Richard, that when my father was really ill 5 years ago. That's when I gave up my job. I was a head of dance at an FE college in Preston, to help my mum care for him. And I just really wish I'd known about your service then. We're sort of stuck in the middle, Samlesbury are, of Blackburn and Preston, and but we had some carers coming in and out to help with my dad, but I gave up my full-time job to help my mum, and then started again trying to teach dancing in schools and taking over the farm. So my life is very diverse, from going teaching children dancing to, as you've seen from the videos I produce, helping with the sheep and the lambs and everything on the farm. But at the same time, when I was caring for my dad, and I know all the carers out there are doing an amazing job, and you can forget about looking after yourselves as well. The farm and the countryside was sort of my release in a way, and it was my link still with my dad as well. So I hope that me talking with Coulson about what I could do to help carers who've been in lockdown and isolated, that just doing some of the videos of the countryside and the animals, because the animals are always glad to see you, that you can at least, if you can't get outside yourselves, you can at least put those on and have some bit of relaxation and me time, pretending you're out there doing that walk with me in the mornings as well. And I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I'm the most untechnical person, but with the help of my 17-year-old who thinks I'm so useless with IT, I've managed to put, as all 17-year-olds do, he's helped put the videos together. My technology has improved an awful lot over this period as well, thanks for doing that as well, you know. So, and I hope I can carry on the association with you, because I think you are just an amazing organisation the short time I've been involved. I messaged Richard before because I came in to see all his pictures of Offarsdyke, and I teach traditional folk dancing as well as the ballet and everything else, and I actually teach my students a dance called Offarsdyke, which is obviously a traditional dance which was made up at the time of King Offa creating that footpath as well. So that was a really good link up for me as well. So that was really nice to see those pictures as well. But you are an amazing service, what you're doing. And for any of the carers out there, as I don't know if you saw my video last week, you are doing a wonderful job. And I just relate it to when my dad was ill. At the time, people said, oh, why are you giving up your job? Why are you doing this? But I never regret that, you know, when other openings open up with my work and my teaching and everything else since then. But the memories we've got, and like Emma said, there are days where it's hard work and you just want to cry or whatever. But when you have that time with your loved one, you know, and it's 5 years ago now that my dad passed away, but there's such special memories, and I'm glad I gave up that time to helping care for him as well. My son now is 17, and he helped with his granddad and everything as well at the time. And we keep the farm going, probably in his memory. But it's really rewarding as well. But as Emma said, you must give yourself that little bit of me time. And when you've got you guys, Sam, Coulson, and everybody to relate to, that's a massive bonus, I would say. So anybody who can help fund or fundraise for you, I will try and help promote that as well, because it's a wonderful service you must be doing. And I get that vibe just from the few months I've been involved with you, you know. So anything I can carry on doing to help, or any videos, I'll keep sending them through to you. So I hope that will be a help to everybody. So well done, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Heather. Thank you so much. I think when you were talking about what you've been doing for the service, during lockdown, you know, Coulson and I got together and said, what can we do? What kind of activities can we do remotely? And Coulson's ideas are just off the wall. She's fantastic. And when she was telling me about you, and then when I've seen the clips, and I just think, you know, here's somebody who not only has had a caring role, that fully understands around that caring role, but then you're offering to give up valuable time to help other carers who are isolated just by posting the videos, and that is invaluable. We just need that so much. So yeah, thank you so much, Heather. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Now, I've just got just a couple of young people that I want you to meet, and I just want to give you a little bit of background on the project. So the carer service, for those that aren't familiar, is an 18+ service. So we take carers that are adults from 18+, and then there's an organisation called Child Action Northwest, and they manage the Young Carers Project. So Hummer and her team will work with young carers as young as 5 years old, right up to 18. And we've been running alongside each other for a long time, supporting each other. Then we sort of plugged the gap of those 16 to 25-year-olds by introducing a young adult carers project. And the two services, Child Action with Young Carers and us, work together to make sure that group of young people, 16 to 25, do not fall through the net, that they are not missed because they're neither young carers or old carers or older carers. Somebody's going to shout at me for that now, aren't they? I'm not an old carer. I don't mean that. I mean an older carer. So I've got two young people now. I've got Alicia and I've got Dec. If Alicia's there, is she unmuted?
Yeah.
She is. Great. Alicia, tell us a little bit about the Young Carers Project and you.
Hello everyone, it's lovely to meet you all. I'm Alicia, I'm 17 and I'm part of the absolutely incredible Young Adult Carers group. I care for my mum who has many conditions but mostly caused by her diabetes, alongside her mobility issues and mental health. I'll do absolutely anything for her, from helping her to get dressed in the morning to preparing entire meals for the family, and I do it because I adore her. She's my best friend and she's always been there for me, so I'm obviously going to be there for her. I used to avoid mixing my caring role with my education, but since the mental crash last year during my important GCSEs, I've just learnt to be open and proud about what my role is and how amazing yet tiring it can be. Emma just discussed about how she feels that people can fade away, and I agree with this, but I also think that I'm absolutely blessed in the fact that the friends who I do have and know that I am a carer completely understand me. I was referred to the carer service initially in 2017 when I was about 13 years old, but I came to the YAC group in August 2019. I get so much support from this group. The group nights are just so much fun because it's a break and, we all get along so well. Kelly and Tash are always keeping in contact with us, even more so now due to lockdown, but I never ever feel like I'm alone with this. I've been to Cadbury's World, participated in community projects, met inspirational people thanks to this group, but my favourite had to be Cadbury's World. Not just because I love chocolate, but it was the week that I joined and the day after my results day from my GCSEs, and I wasn't in a great mental space, so going to somewhere with chocolate obviously made me happy, but it calmed me down and I made so many friends and amazing memories on this trip. It's something I'll always treasure and keep in my heart. The project, incredible. There's nothing I can say more than that. It supports me. It's taught me I'm not alone, whereas in the past I've felt that caring is something I should do alone. The groups have helped me make incredible friends where we check up on each other and make sure that we all know we're never alone. I've learnt so many things from everyone in this group. Kelly and Tash are two of the most supportive and talented people I've ever met. Recently, my mum went into hospital, and obviously with coronavirus happening, I was terrified. My mum had a kidney infection, but Kelly messaged me every single day asking me for updates and dates and sending her well wishes. I honestly don't think that I would have coped without Kelly's crazy energy through the text. It's just something that kept me sane. The group's taught me to be confident and proud of me. This time last year, talking in front of a group of over 50 people would have absolutely terrified me, and to the point where I wouldn't have got out of bed to do it. But you know what? I've learnt that it's fine, and the scary things are what I enjoy. I don't get along well with my family. They don't really understand, but I've got the YAC group. That's my family. They say you can't choose your family, but I promise you can. To all the carers, remember, you are loved and you are appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Alicia. I love the bit about chocolate. I am right with you on that one. I think that would, what a good way to introduce you to the Young Adult Carers Project. Definitely. something that you like, something that you're familiar with, especially after just getting results and not feeling, you know, where you want to be. But yeah, chocolate wins all the time, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for sharing, Alicia. It's massive coming on here with all these different people that you don't know, being able to share your story. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Fantastic. So if anybody does have any questions for our young adult carers, please post them and let Isma know. So after you, Alicia, we've got Dec. Is Dec around?
Yep, I'm here.
Yep, Declan. Go for it, Declan.
All right, good morning, everybody. Well, first of all, it's great to hear from a lot of you because you've obviously got a lot of inspiring stories. It's inspired me quite a lot. Well, I'm a young adult carer, as you can probably tell, and I care for my dad who has Parkinson's disease. Now he suffered with that with quite a few years, and it's only been in the past 5-6 years, maybe 7, where it started progressing. It started coming on really strong, where it became from me being the child and my dad taking care of me, the roles was reversed. It kind of took on, I was looking after my dad at this point. So whilst he still fathered me, it kind of became at the point where I was the one caring for him, which I didn't mind. You know, I love my dad. You know, he's my dad at the end of the day. I'm gonna look after him. I'm gonna help him with whatever he needs. I will say the project of the carer service, the young adult carers, really has helped me because before this, I didn't know anybody my age was a carer. That was it. The only other person I knew was my mum. And whilst obviously that is somebody, you know, who I love, I trust, and I do that job, role with, it's a lot different because it's an age group, you know, I was still maturing and I was still trying to like find my way forward. And whilst I could communicate and connect with my mum on certain levels, on all of them I couldn't. So when I came into young adult carers, and well, I think it was just young carers for me at the time because I was below 18, it was the one place where I didn't feel alone anymore. You know, I could always speak to my friends, but they could never fully understand. And then at the time, I think it was Joanna, and they understood where I was at, and that really, really helped me. It really brought me forward, and the support is just incredible. And like from Kelly, for example, whilst I might not be able to come down all the time, and Tash as well, whilst I not be able to come down all the time because of uni, I know the second I need help, the second I need support, it's there. So I might not need to use it all the time, but I know the help and support is there. And to be quite honest, it's just been amazing. You know, I've made so many friends, and like Emma was saying before, and it's kind of like you do get forgotten about. You know, everybody's always asking about the person you're caring for, which to be quite, I'm always happy answering that, but it's always kind of like, you know, the why not matter. And going to what Alicia was saying as well, it's when I've been coming to these carers nights, it hasn't just been meeting up with a support group or meeting up with some friends. It's genuinely felt like a family. It's genuinely felt like these people understand me. They understand the one aspect of my life that 95% of people outside of this family do not understand. So it's really, really helped me. And to be honest, all the activities are brilliant. You know, whether that's going to Cadbury's World, which again is my favourite. Definitely getting a lot away from that. Whilst that was my favourite, coming to the carers nights where we would have people talking about well-being, mental health, CV building, all these other things. It's just been absolutely incredible because it's improved me mentally, and all these little activities have been amazing. Even during lockdown, because I struggled to get home because of uni now, and I'm having to stay away from my dad because I've been at uni, which is probably one of the hardest parts. Kelly and Tash and everybody else has in the care service have really, really helped me, because it's pulled me out of the shell that I was in, because I was feeling really, really guilty about not being able to go home. But at the same time, if I went home, I was scared about making my dad ill, just in case I had the virus. So the support from Kelly and Tash alone has not only helped me during this in terms of making me not feel guilty, but it's just made me not feel alone. It's improved my mental health. To be quite honest, I think without it, I would probably be in a bit of a dark place. So honestly, without a doubt, this project, this carer service, is probably one of the best things that ever happened to me during this, and it's the one thing that's helped me mentally more than anything. Not only like the physical support, but the mental support. Yeah, that's you know.
Oh wow, thanks, Dick. Gosh, I have found in me doing this role for quite a long time that young adult carers age range was always the challenge for us, because we found that the young people were not engaging with an adult service, and we didn't know how to get to you. We didn't know what you wanted. And we almost needed an in to be able to develop something. And when we started the project, we had Joe's currently on maternity leave, and we have Jenna, who Kelly took over from. They started to do that foundation work working with you. And then obviously now Kelly and Tash, and they just seem to find you. And from what you and Alicia have just said, and I know Terry's on the Zoom call as well, you know, I know from all of you that these are the sort of things that are benefiting you, the trips, the activities, and keep telling us what you want, keep telling us what will help. And for you, Dick, dip in and dip out as much as you want, because there's nothing to say you have to attend every group. Dip in, dip out, because if that's what supports you, then that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you. Okay, so we're almost coming to the end now. I could listen to our carers all day. I really could. I just want, Alan's going to play a clip that refers to the annual report. One of our carers has been working with Parveen recently, and it's great to hear from Dec, because when you hear from male carers, the percentage of male carers is a lot lower than female accessing the service. So when we hear from male carers, it's absolutely amazing. So this testimony is from one of our carers. Alan, are you ready with it?
Hi, I'm Michael from the Carers Service. We've had a carer send a case study to us, and it's just outlining the struggles he's had as a carer, but also how he's overcome his struggles by the help of the Carers Service. So I'm going to read it out. He's given us full permission to read it out at the AGM. I never envisioned being a carer. I mean, I can barely look after myself. So how on earth could I possibly think that I could actually care for somebody else? Granted, I was young, naive, and too focused on myself. Just like everybody else, I had dreams and ambitions of my own, but all of that seemingly went by the wayside in April 2016, when my mother was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Now, I don't understand how she got it or why. It's still something I'm having difficulty understanding to this day. After going to the hospital for an innocent chest infection, an X-ray revealed a much darker truth. She had scarring on her lungs. It's been 4 years and we still don't have an explanation as to how a woman who had no history of smoke inhalation developed scarring on her lungs. I think that's particularly why it's been so frustrating. Just so you can get an idea of a condition, let me quickly summarise it for you. Due to the scarring on her lungs, not enough oxygen is being pumped into her body, which can cause it to become sticky and thicken, and in turn hinders the body's ability to successfully pump blood throughout the body. leaving her susceptible to any number of medical issues. She's always been a proud woman. She would never ask for help, thinking it was okay to shoulder all of the problems herself. I guess I now know who I inherited that trait from. But she ran the house. She did so much for so many without hardly ever receiving a thank you. However, that's the kind of woman she was. She never sought anyone's applause or validation. She just did what she knew, which makes it even more upsetting seeing what her life has become. Shouldering that much responsibility can be tough to handle, but there was never a doubt in my mind that I wasn't going to not be there for her. I mean, how could I not? How could I abandon the woman who I owe so much of my life to? It was my duty to take care of her, no matter the mental and physical toll it was going to take on me. It's certainly taken a while for me to wrap my head around it, but even now after 4 years, I'm still having difficulties accepting it. She's just turned 61, and I hate that this thing has robbed her of her later years. However, if there's one good thing that's come out of this, it's time. The illness may have robbed us of it, but it's also given us time to reflect and be thankful for each and every day we have had together. That's how I'm trying to get by taking every day as it comes and not getting wrapped up in tomorrows. I can't control what happens. All I can do is ensure my mum is well looked after, and that's basically what my life has consisted of for the past 4 years. But as someone who has had a history of depression and anxiety, I have been aware that this could have been a trigger for me. And to a certain degree, it has been. I've been so consumed with her well-being that I've alienated everybody around me. I don't have any friends and no form of escape. It's sad, but I've accepted it for what it is. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the aid that the carer services have provided for me during this difficult period. I seriously can't fathom where I would be without their continued support, especially without the help and encouragement of Miss Parveen Alam. She has been a tireless advocate. Before I finish up, I would like to offer some advice. Anyone who's currently a carer or contemplating becoming one, show up. Just show up and be there. You have no idea how much that means. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be tough, especially if you're caring for somebody you love. But as carers, it's our duty to reassure and support however we can. When you get to this stage, you realise it's the small things in life that mean the most. And if you can help get their mind off what they're going through, even for a few minutes, then that's a job well done. Thank you.
Wow, that just sort of brings our testimonies from our carers to a close, really. And I just want to say, before I pass you over to Claire, just to say thank you to Emma, to Heather, to Alicia, and Dec, and Kaz, whose testimony Michael has just read out. Sharing your stories, letting us into your lives, and letting us have that little bit of a picture of what it's like for you, but then letting us know how well the service is supporting you, because we need to know this. We need to know what we can do right for you, and then we can just develop services further. So thank you for everybody who's spoken. Yeah, it's quite hard hitting. Thank you. Claire, can I pass over you to say thanks and goodbye?
Yeah, just thank you for us all as well for bearing with us on our first Zoom AGM. It's actually gone all right, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got a big thank you, and it's in no particular order. So I want to thank the trustees, because they steer the service and they give their time to, like our volunteers. They don't get paid, and they're like the rudder of the service. So thank you to the trustees. Massive thank you to the staff, because I can genuinely say, hand on heart, each and every member of staff is passionate about helping carers. It's something that they live and breathe, and it's lovely to have such a dedicated team. Emma spoke about sometimes, services that get a lot of staff turnover and you don't get the continuity. And we're really, really lucky here that we've got really good continuity. Our advisors have been with us for years, and team are there contact with carers if that's what they want. So thank you to the staff. Volunteers, they help so much. We couldn't do without all our volunteers. The amount that like the payment, the amount that they're giving kind is phenomenal, and we really couldn't manage without you. And especially during this lockdown period, we have some fabulous volunteering, so thank you. I want to say a special thank you to Richard. I loved hearing Richard's story. I know I've heard him speak before about the walk, and every time he tells it, I love hearing it. It's, you know, it's, and the photos and how he talks about the isolation, massive physical challenge, the mental challenge, it's almost like a story of triumph over adversity, isn't it? And I know carers can massively relate to that, and I think it's amazing that Richard's willing to do it again. After all that, he's willing to do it again. So thank you, and we're gonna promote Rambling On your Facebook page, and let's see if we can get more people behind it this time, following you and donating. So thank you, and to everyone else that's fundraised as well for us, because it really does make a massive difference, and it allows us to do some lovely things for our carers. So lastly, I want to thank the carers themselves, because we know the work you do. A lot of the staff themselves at our service are carers, and we get it, we see it, we hear your stories, and we know what you live with every day, and we understand that, and we want to do everything we can to help you. So I want to say a really good thank you, a massive thank you to Emma, Heather, Declan and Alicia for sharing their stories, because it's not easy to open up. You know, when you're telling something so personal, it can be really hard. So thank you for sharing it. And without you doing that, our AGM will be really boring and dry. You make it real, you bring it to life, and you help everyone understand, you know, the cause. So thank you. It was insightful, it was brave, and personal, and thank you. And I could see, as everyone's been talking throughout this AGM, there's a lot of love coming through the chat box at the bottom. A lot of support for each other, a lot of support for the staff at the service, and that's really nice to see. And I think that's something that we don't get in a face-to-face AGM. So I think that constant stream of voice is really, really nice to see. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to everyone that's logged on and bared with us as well for this. And I think it's gone all right.
Yeah.
Really good. We just want to end officially by doing a clap for carers. So every Thursday evening we've had the clap for the carers, which are the, you know, the staff, the paid staff, but we'd like to do a clap for family carers, and just acknowledge in a little tiny way, just acknowledge what you do every day, and that you're doing a fantastic job. So I don't know, do we need to unmute everybody?
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
clap?
unmute.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how long it's meant to be going on for as well, but we'll see. We'll keep it going. All right.
Okay.
Start you off maybe. So a big clap for carers. 1, 2, 3. I didn't know how long it was going to go on for, and I still don't.
Hey, how did you do that emoji? That's cool.
Actions at the bottom.
Wow.
Final words.
I think that's everything, isn't it? Thank you, everybody. And if you do have any questions, messages, anything that you would like from us, please just drop us a telephone call, 01254 688 440, or drop us an email at office@bwdcarers.org.uk. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, I need to just nip to the loo. So
What are you lot waiting for? Just go.
Hi.
Finished.
You all right?
I wasn't sure whether we needed to stay.
I didn't know. I needed a wee though.
Well, I was just waiting until everyone left so I can take all the comments. So what I've been doing, I've been screenshotting the comments. If I start writing it down, I'll be here all night.
Yeah, take forever.
Is there not a way to save it, Isma?
I've recorded it.
Can you not like click to save it?
You
or
can cut
something?
and paste it.
Yeah, there it says save chat.
Yeah, look.
If you go on the little dots next to the chat and go on save chat. You got it?
I'm just having a look, Kieran.
At the bottom where you type.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
I've got it.
Just click save chat and see where it saves.
I've got it, Kieran.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got it. Wow, I'm exhausted from it.
That was good. It was lovely that.
Yeah,
Good,
I think the conversation's quite powerful, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It does make it really like the accounts and stuff like that. It feels really. It's a shame Tim, the commissioner, had gone by the time we got onto the carers stories.
I think they're more interested in receiving the copy because what I was looking at is a lot of people did ask for that.
It's a shame. It's a shame though, because even in our report, it doesn't come across.
Good, mate.
No,
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah, I
she
think I'll
shared her
just-
story, it really
Go
was
off.
powerful.
Go off again, just press the button in the middle.
Missed it, didn't we?
Silence and
Well, they missed
okay.
it.
But
But yeah.
if you obviously smoke, set it off, you'll have to clear.
Yeah.
You have to clear it.
Right, I'm going to.
Is Sam coming back or is she?
Oh, she's gone.
Right, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave then as well.
See you all later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Well done.